Hey everybody, it's Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. So I was thinking about November, upcoming possible chaos, turmoil, stuff like that. And I was thinking about, like, as patriots, what do we need to be doing? What can we be doing? And where do we stand? What threats there are out there, they're going to go against us, potentially. And I'm not necessarily saying, pew, pew, pew. I'm saying, other threats. They don't have to be violent threats. What threats are there? There's a lot of threats out there for us and our way of life. And I'm talking about, I'm speaking for myself and how I believe, how I feel. Constitution, limited government, freedom, free will, those kind of things. I'm not talking really necessarily right versus left, because I think all those are across the board. I don't know about the small government thing. Some people may not believe in small government. But, come on, Constitution, which gives you rights and freedoms. Actually, it doesn't give you, it protects them. He gives them to you. God gives them to you. But who doesn't like rights? Who doesn't like freedoms? I know that, some people are willing to give up freedom for security and safety and all that kind of stuff. And for handouts, for government handouts. Well, I guess there are people like that. But I'm speaking to people that, we believe in the Constitution, all those kind of things. I'm a constitutional conservative with mostly libertarian leanings. Although, it is what it is. Anyway, what threats are there out there? Their threats are government, standing in your way, standing in our way. Also the speed at which they do stuff, or lack of speed at which they do stuff. The voting process, is it compromised? Is there voter fraud? Yeah, there is voter fraud. Does our vote matter? I don't know. I still do it because it's something I can do. And I'm going to get to, these things. These things may come into play. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the threats out there, the government itself, the powers that be, the Illuminati, deep state, those kind of things. Yeah, they're out there. There are powers that be that do not like free people. That's why they want to take our guns away. That's why they want to take our freedom of speech away, unless you're on their side doing their bidding. You can go out and riot and loot and stuff like that, but, you can't go to church. Whatever. That really upsets me. You guys probably heard that before. What are threats out there? Well, I just spoke of, rioting and looting. Those people, BLM, Antifa, Black Bloc, John Brown Gun Club, you name it. There's a lot of different NFAC or something like that, not effing around coalition. There's a lot of different groups out there that are taking advantage of the cops not doing their jobs in these big liberal cities that are just letting them go crazy every single night. I live in Pacific Northwest, so I live fairly close to Portland and fairly close to Seattle. Although they're still out, hour plus away. Portland's a couple hours, Seattle's over an hour. So, hey, but they're still there. And, that stuff, if it creeps into the rural areas, first off, I don't think it'll be as successful because rural people have been proven to stand up against this crap. So what threats are there? Antifa. Okay, who are they? Everybody says, oh, they're just a bunch of basement dwelling, Call of Duty playing, LARPers. Well, yeah, that may be. But there are those among them that are trained, do have military backgrounds, are equipped properly, and I keep on seeing videos all the time about equipment coming their way, whether it's arms shipments, ammunition shipments, tactical gear, armor, all this stuff like that. I'm not sure. I haven't had time to do my research. I apologize. But those threats may exist. They're getting money. Black Lives Matter is receiving millions, if not $1 billion. I don't even know how much. They're receiving a lot of funding for all this crap. They're being funded to riot and to loot and destroy and maim and rape and kill and damage. Seriously? Whatever. Anyway, so those are the threats out there. Some of the threats. Those threats I've talked about so far. So what can we do about those threats that I specifically talked about? Well, the government portion, we can do our part. We can vote. We can write letters. We can write emails. We can make phone calls. We can be active on social media, letting our views be known. We can show up in rallies. We can participate in a lot of different things that'll make our voices heard. But we can also operate on the local level. Local governments. Get that whole idea of limited government building and brewing. I think a lot of people have been changing their mind about what's going on in this nation nowadays. They've been woken up. Not woke, but woken up to what's actually going on. All this violence, all this rioting, all this looting. So what's the other side of things that we can do? That's the peaceful side of things. The other side of things I talk about all the time. We need to be trained. Train. If you're of fighting age and ability, then my gosh, you got to be doing it. You got to be getting ready. You got to be training with these things. Pew. You got to be training in fitness. You got to be training. You got to get all your gear squared away. Make sure when you wear your gear, you train in your gear. Because if you're not training in your gear, you don't know where the interferences are. You don't know if your war belt, if you can get to that magazine because of your plate carrier, or etc. You don't know if this interferes with that. You don't know if your straps for your pack interfere with your plate carrier, your chest rig, whatever it is. You got to wear your gear. You got to train. And train, get the best training you can. I've mentioned before about training. There's good tactical training schools around the United States. If you're in a group, great. If you all can't afford to go, I get it. Pool your money. Send one person. Maybe that person pays half, and then everybody else splits up the other half. Then that person goes and gets the valuable training. They come back to the group, and they train the other members in realistic, dynamic training. It has to be as realistic and as stress-involving training as you possibly can get, including carrying heavy things back and forth, running around, dumping your gear, getting it back on, getting down in the dirt, getting down in the mud, slogging through crappy areas, climbing up and over barriers, going up and down mountains. Hardcore training. We have to be as equipped and ready to go as possible. Because coming up in November, man, I don't see there not being chaos. It doesn't matter who gets elected. Man, I hate to say it, but I think things are going to hit big time. I've said this before, yes. I want to reach you guys, but what we need to be doing as patriots, people that care about our nation, left, right, I don't care. Like I said, we have a lot. If we would concentrate on what we have in common, we'd have a lot less difficulties in the country. We'd be a lot less divided. We're more divided now than I think we ever have been, including the Civil War. So, tactical training, realistic training. I know ammunition's hard to find nowadays, but you can still find it. And you can still find it without getting, taken advantage of as far as price. You can still find it, get it when you can, get it as you can. Freedom seeds, magazines, all that kind of stuff. These, have the extra these, have lots of those. Have these things and train with them. You can see mine here. See the wear marks up here? Wear marks all over the place. The sights are all the bluing's wearing off the sights and stuff like that. Why is that? This is all beat up because all the paint is wearing off. Why? Because I train with it. I use it all the time. We need to be marksmen, but we need to have the physical capability of operating in hostile environments. That's extremely important. If this stuff starts moving into our areas, we got to be ready to stand up. You need to be talking to your neighbors, your friends, your relatives, your co-workers, whoever's around you, especially people in your local community, sheriffs. Depending on where you're at, they may or may not have your back. Where I'm at, they have my back. Drove through the closest little tiny town yesterday, big Trump rally. People on both sides of the street, American flags, back the blue flags, Trump flags, everything like that. It's good Americans, and everybody driving by was honking their horns and giving them thumbs up and stuff like that. I live in a very conservative area, though, in a very liberal state, because it's all controlled by Seattle, Olympia, Tacoma, those kind of areas. Unfortunately, because this state is awesome. It's beautiful, long growing season, lots of good stuff going on for it. But this is why I'm bugging out and I'm getting out of here, and I'm moving to the Ozarks. We're going to buy a property there. More like-minded people, I feel, and no, I'm not just running away from the problem. I'm, just strategic relocation, which I recommend you guys do. I don't know about doing it now, though. I think staying put until after the elections is vital, because where you're at now, you're going to be better off than if you're in a brand new area and you know nobody. Got to have your team. Got to know people. Got to have contacts. I know a lot of different people. I know several different groups. Actually, several different groups, and I know a lot of different individuals. That if stuff goes down, we can meet up. We can provide for common defense, for common food, stuff like that. So, like I always say, prep a little every day. That's important. You got to have food and water. Like these here, you can see water storage. Over here, more water storage. Those are getting ready to be put away. The bottles. There's also water storage here. You can see that one. Water is important. If you're self-reliant, I don't know if you can hear it. Gunshots going off in the background. That happens all the time where I live. I love it. That's the sound of freedom right there. But yeah, be ready to do the things. Be ready mentally to do the hard things. Combat is not difficult or is not easy. I'll tell you what, taking a life is not easy. It's not like Call of Duty. It is difficult to look somebody in the eye and pull that trigger. Unless you're psychotic, which, I've been through a lot of crap, and, it's, you do what you gotta do. I'm not saying it's like, it's difficult to pull that trigger, like it takes, you gotta think, process. If you're trained properly, you just flows. It all comes back to you afterwards. I get it. But it's a difficult situation to be in. If you don't understand that, you gotta remember that. You gotta be mentally strong. That's one of the biggest things, is your mental ability to deal with this crap. All this crap going on around us. How do you keep a sane mind in today's world? 2020 is going to go down in the history books. Probably 2021 also. Maybe a couple of years after that. I don't know. All I know is we need to stay strong. We need to get trained. We need to have water. We need to have food. We need to have medical. We need to have all the preps we possibly can. It's time to up your game if you haven't already. I hope you're still watching the video also. If you're still watching the video, thank you. I love you guys. And check out the links in the description below. We do a lot of exclusive stuff over on Patreon. A lot of good stuff there. Amazon storefront. 4% going to me instead of Amazon. A lot of good quality products there to help you get ready. I'm not saying you have to go buy my stuff or you're going to die. No, I don't do that. But anyway, we need to be taking this seriously, people. Not just sitting on social media and talking about it. You need to get off the computer and go do. Like all this stuff here. This whole area behind me. This is all planted in potatoes for my second batch. I pulled, I think I pulled 40 or 50 pounds of red potatoes out of there already. And then we replanted in Yukon Golds, which I haven't grown yet. So we'll see that. Be getting your fall and winter gardens in. Raise animals. I know it's a big thing, but we need to be as self-reliant, self-sufficient, independent of the system as possible. We have more people independent of the system and self-reliant than we're not reliant on the government. We don't give a crap what they do. We do, but we don't. See what I'm saying? Freaking mosquitoes. Anyway, starting to ramble a little bit. Please have your gear squared away. Fitness. Work on your fitness, please, please, please. And if you're not able to shoot a lot now because of ammo and ammo availability and resupply, dry fire. Or still go through the motions without a loaded gun. Act like you're shooting. Engage, walk through the woods, practice patrolling, practice reaction to contact, practice ambushes, practice your fieldcraft skills, practice wilderness survival skills, foraging, all these things. Get out in it. Do it. Please, I love you guys, and blessings to you and yours.